Welcome to the U.S. latest news channel. Watch the video to the end to find out the current and breaking news about the Russian war in Ukraine. About 600 members of our brigade have resigned in recent months. Almost everyone packs their stuff and goes home. He said they were just unloading their property, and he said they are leaving after all this time, and there were rumors that we would be paid. I thought about $200,000, but I was told we will only pay the minimum wage. These days, when the Russian occupation continues, we bring you the most up-to-date information. There was an explosion at the train station in the Kherson region. Ukrainian soldiers destroyed a Russian train carrying ammunition and supplies to the Russian army. This event is considered one of the most critical events for the Ukrainian military. Victory during the war was on the side of the Ukrainian army. The destruction of this train caused great damage to the Russian side. According to the statement made by the Ukrainian armed forces, this attack will cause great shortcomings to the Russian side, while the Russians, who are weak in front of us, will be easy for us. According to the shared information, it was claimed that 72 Russian soldiers and 8 senior Russian army commanders were killed after the explosion. While the solution to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia was expected by the whole world, this agreement took much longer than expected. However, with the latest development, there was a very big event that would bring a radical solution to the conflict. Some videos on social media show the superior U.S. military vehicle, also known as the PROs, on the war fronts in Ukraine. There is no clear information about the total number of soldiers in these large vehicles yet. These armored vehicles used are strong enough to withstand an explosion equivalent to approximately 7 kilos. American armored vehicles are quite successful in their missions. Requires the removal of used military equipment from strategic locations. In addition, since these armored vehicles are equipped with very powerful weapons, there is also the possibility of transforming the vehicle by closing the top. After these armored vehicles arrive in the region, it is now much easier to destroy the Russian enemies. The Ukrainian army has a great opportunity to achieve the goals it has set. The United States Army should provide more support to Ukraine. What effect do you anticipate the powerful weapons used will have on the war? Can Russia do something about American battleships? We are with you with the latest developments from the 6th month of the Russian occupation. Ukrainian soldiers achieved great success against Russian soldiers in the last months of the war. Russian soldiers continue to suffer losses against the Ukrainian army. The British Navy successfully discovered one of their submarines belonging to Russia. The British Navy announced that it has discovered a submarine belonging to the Russian Navy. According to the statement made by the British, it was said that there were about 40 cruise missiles on the Russian submarine found. The British Navy press spokesperson said in a press statement, a Russian nuclear submarine was discovered for the first time during the reconnaissance drives. The submarine, which is active at sea, poses a great danger to the Ukrainian soldiers. The British Navy spokesperson said that the submarine in the Black Sea would be followed and the necessary action would be taken in case of any danger. After these statements, no statement on the subject came from the Russian side. With the Russian invasion of Ukraine, tensions between different Chechens began to increase. The people of Chechnya have long resisted the bad behavior of the Russians. In their previous statements, they stated that they did not want to fight on the side of Russia. In addition, almost all Chechen people do not like Putin. But they made it clear that their unreal leader, Kadyrov, was befriending them. We see that the church has been hesitant for a long time and the army was sent to attack Ukraine. New evidence emerging shows that some members of the Russian Orthodox Church were involved in spying. Russian personnel in these places share the intelligence they have learned with the Ukrainian side. Russia's greatest fear was that its absent soldiers would be harmed. Meanwhile, Russia is unsure of what to do in the face of this stalemate because of the important role Chechen rebel troops have played in historically defending Ukraine and unraveling all Russia's tactics. Rebel forces in Chechnya are waging a struggle that changes the dynamics of the conflict. Do you think the Chechens will further worsen Putin's military situation in Chechnya? What would be the consequences if there were more Chechen soldiers? Do you think there is a way out for the trapped rebels to escape? In the ongoing conflicts between Ukraine and the Russian army, the Ukrainian army increased its attacks. The Ukrainian military, whose lands are occupied, continues to defeat the Russian army on different fronts of the war. After intense clashes, many soldiers of the Russian army died this week. Suddenly, a huge fire broke out in the large and luxurious skyscraper, visible from almost all over the city. Moscow was covered in thick black smoke. Smoke filled the air in the area of the fire. The fire broke out at a height of 300 meters and on the 66th floor of the luxury skyscraper. The first place of fire was the roof of the skyscraper. Firefighters came to the scene immediately after the incident. Due to the building being too high, the firefighters at the scene were insufficient. For this reason, helicopters intervened in the fire. Although hours have passed since the incident, the Russian and Ukrainian authorities did not make any statement regarding this incident. With the recent success of the Ukrainian army, Ukrainian military forces have recaptured many Russian-occupied territories. When preparations began for an attack on Donetsk by Russian soldiers, they never stopped. After the Russian annexation of Donetsk, as part of the operation of the Ukrainian forces, the plan to liberate a huge part of the city from occupation was quickly put into practice. The rebels, who were on the territory of Ukraine, reached the very top of the city. The first move they made was to create control zones in neighborhoods on the outskirts of the city. While some of the Russian occupation forces are on the offensive, they have ample opportunity to pinpoint the exact location of the Russian soldiers where they are. It was neutralized by artillery fire from the tank units of the Ukrainian army. The rest left the city of Donetsk. A large part of Donetsk, which belongs to Ukraine, has been cleared. Will the Ukrainian military be able to save the entire city of Donetsk from occupation? In eastern Russia, a fire breaks out from a warehouse. The whole sky gets covered in its smoke. State news agencies said that fire have been extinguished after it forced more than 2,000 people to flee. It was learned that no other buildings were affected by the fire. The fire had injured 39 people and made 2,200 people escape before fire brigades came. It is still not known how many lives were taken by the fire. It is learned that flames covered 2,000 square meters. The fire had started in an important industrial center of Russia which hosts the headquarters of Komsolox, an assertion which manufactures aircraft, one of the largest aircraft manufacturing companies Russia have. They produced military and civil aircrafts that are also seen as fighters. The Russian media agency said that there were periodic explosions at the factory. A Russian mercenary who have been natalized in the Ukraine-Russian war was linked to murder of prisoners of war and civilians serving under Putin. BPTH Vladimir and Donovan were killed by a sniper in Ukraine. According to a Russian newspaper, Moskovsky along with his partner were killed while performing nocturnal reconnaissance of the area. Donald was from Bergatin's Mayatsky district. Upon reporting his passing, agency described him as most recognized volunteer of that dread. Commander of Russia's 5th Combined Arms Army, Kuzo is blamed for leading the charge. Under false identity, Antonin, a mercenary, hided Putin's orders. Why Kremlin insists that the Wagner Group conflicts all across the globe. In December 2017, he was awarded a military distinguished medal. Anil is said to have been in Russian operations in Syria and Libya. The war between Russia and Ukraine still goes strong in its 6th month. Ukrainian army still goes strong in its 6th month. The Ukrainian army still targets senior soldiers of the Russian army. Many high-ranking soldiers in the Russian army have been killed by the Ukrainian army since the beginning of war. During the war, the Russian lost yet another general. General Fedorenko had served as a senior official of the army. It is learned that General was killed during the artillery shelling of the Ukraine army against Russian points, and the Cairo chair of command in the Russian army will be greatly weakened since Russia had lost so many senior generals. Alexander Saboltin, prominent Russian businessman and a partner of a major oil corporation who was also developing military equipment, has been found dead after long years of opposition to Putin. Before the promotion of weapons could begin, his body was found in his hotel room in Moscow. Subotin and Putin had been having arguments since the conflict's inception. Since Subotin did not support Putin's stance in the conflict, he stated that he wouldn't supply gasoline and military weapons while the conflict continued. After trying to connect Subotin for 3 hours with no success, his assistant assumed that he was killed. While checking on him at the hotel and notifying the authorities, hotel staff took possession of things discovered in the guest's room to further investigate the presence of sub-items. Poison was found in a glass that had been used to wrench the support of Europeans to Alexander. The war still continues in its 6th month. One of the Russian army's top managers, Terelal, was blown up in his own car, according to Ukrainian General Command. After an effective operation by Ukrainian intelligence, when Tosalau got inside his car, there was a huge explosion. Terelal died in an instant, according to information. He was a government official who had been greatly supporting Russia's attack on Ukraine. He was among those who determined Russia's invasion strategy.